Hedera Hbar. So you missed out on some shocking news that we had announced and in plan, because we are the only one that is involved in this project. So it's good to see that they've actually picked Hedera's technology over others. Now we will also be talking about the launch that just happened with Hashpack wallet and some teething issues, because a lot of people were disappointed. Unfortunately, we thought that it would be a good launch, but it actually wasn't. And we do have a statement talking about that as well. And then we will be having a look at the price action for Hbar token. If you do want daily Hedera Hbar coin news, I'm always posting videos on here. And of course, if you are new to the channel or if you are a regular, you can drop down in the comments below anything that you've got in mind. For example, how many Hbar that you own, or if you're having a good week. So far, it is a Tuesday, so we're just pretty much starting the week. It's good to see everyone in the comment section because I always reply to everyone. So if we have a look at this piece of news, which is what people missed, and actually was one of those that went under the radar, Hedera put it on their X page. You'll see over here that we have the blockchain for energy unveils their B4E carbon emissions management solution. So it sounds like quite a lot of words in one thing, but we're going to break it down. It says over here that the B4E carbon is the energy industry's first comprehensive emissions management solution, leveraging blockchain, AI, and of course IoT systems. So we have the approach of the decentralization, because it's in order to address the accuracy, transparency, and verifiable emissions data. And we know that is something that Hedera can provide. A lot of these different companies are looking at ways now when it comes to verifying emissions data. You have things like carbon or with hydrogen as well. And it's definitely going to be playing a big role coming on in the future. So the B4E carbon's development is a testament to the power of the consortium, with B4E joining forces with member company Innovate AI and leveraging its experience in AI and also machine learning to enhance their solutions capability. So how does Hedera come into play with this? And so what they're going to be using is this DMRV technology, and that stands for the digital measurement, reporting, and verification. So not only is verification important to understand that we have the accuracy of these numbers, but also the reporting of it as well. So we're able to do it, for example, on a daily basis and also within the weekly and monthly. That's how we are able to use it and analyze when it comes to these emissions, and it will definitely help the companies. So the DMRV, which is this technology over here, is built on Hedera's Hashgraph ledger, and that is how we are able to come with it. Of course, we know that we are able to provide secure and efficient decentralized infrastructure for the data management and transparency, and this is how we are able to play a role when it comes to that. And also it eliminates the potential for greenwashing and fraud in emissions claims. Now what this means is that a lot of companies before, perhaps, or maybe currently, actually might be understating how much they are emitting, of course, to comply with regulations and to look good. But with Hedera's technology, because it operates based on accuracy and verification, that then means that you will be able to prevent this. And so in terms of the greenwashing, we won't be seeing as many companies basically lie about how many emissions that they emit. So that will be good for the environment, of course. And we have over here that the B4E carbon is committed to championing data integrity and interoperability by adhering the frameworks and standards set forth by the Interwork Alliance as well. We actually do have a statement coming in from the president of the Blockchain for Energy, saying that the launch of B4E carbon marks a transformative moment for the energy sector, combining the power of blockchain, AI, and IoT to set new benchmarks in emissions management. And we're not just tracking emissions, but we are also enabling the industry to make impactful decisions based on unverified data and validated environmental claims. And this solution does pave the way for responsible energy production and consumption that aligns with global decarbonization goals. So this isn't a paper exercise or just a to-do list in order to get the emissions and track them, but it's also for the decision making. So if we know that we have emitted a certain amount of emissions within 1 year, then we are able to change up the way that we operate as a company. And of course, we are able to then try and reduce our emissions by 10%, for example. And so that's what the president is saying over here. It's not just that tick list, but it's actually making those decisions and for the future and how it will also benefit as well. Now we'll actually be getting the take from zepi about this, as well as zepi and Hbar Bull dived into this article, and of course it is good use, so let's see what he has said.
They've really built the infrastructure that's necessary to move this entire space forward. And we're just leaps and bounds, like I said, ahead of some of these other networks. But what are your thoughts on this huge announcement that we just saw come out this week.
So I think, to that point, there are other layer 1s, layer 2s that specialize in refi or have relatively large refi ecosystems, but they are nowhere near the same caliber as Hedera in terms of the names involved, in terms of the throughput going through the network, and in terms of that sort of enterprise adoption, right? And refi as an industry is one that is inherently catering to these Fortune 500s, these very large industry players that need to decarbonize, that need to track their emissions, that need to offset their carbon. And so Hedera, again and again, each week, shows us that they really are cornering this market, at least on that high brand, high scale, global organization front. Working with some of the biggest energy companies in the world that all have their own sort of mandates whereby they need to move towards clean energy or at least cleaner emissions in their sort of own supply chain based on global demand, really. This is a solution that's being presented to them on the Hedera Guardian via Tolan Marketplace, and again cements that Hedera is the ledger that will bring the balance sheet of the planet to the public ledger. And so I think the team at the Sustainable Impact Fund again and again outdo themselves, and this week was no different. So I mean, we'll definitely be learning more about this in the future, and we'll be sure to cover it, but what a massive piece of news for the Guardian and Hedera in general.
So now that's out of the way, let's talk about the elephant in the room when it came to the Hashpack wallet and with the launch. So of course we had the collectibles, and that was the launch on the 17th of March. Everyone knew about it, and what basically happened is that the network was to its knees with the amount of traffic for this mint. That's what they said, and thank you for a historic launch on Hedera. And so the network definitely was on its knees because there were a lot of errors. Now they said that, just to clarify, it was the mirror nodes. However, the Hedera network was actually fine, but a lot of people did have some errors when it came to the messages, and you'll see over here that we had a few of these failed transactions, and these were actually done within just a few minutes of themselves. But you'll see over here that we have 4 failed transactions, and you can see with the token associate, which is what they said in their other tweet as well, of the pre-associate that you could do on the day of the launch. So there was actually quite a lot of disappointment when it came to that, and not only with the error messages that were coming up, apparently some people were saying that there were some issues with the capture, which is when you then tick to verify that you're not a robot, and some people did actually miss out on it. So I'm not quite sure if it was a successful launch. What I do know though is that they did sell out, but again, people were still seeing error messages within the first minute of the actual launch, and that meant that they weren't actually able to buy anything because either they had that error message or it was sold out, which doesn't really make sense, right, when it happened with the launch. So the response that we had coming in over here from the CTO of Hashpack was that he was not satisfied with the user experience that they delivered today. There was some bits and pieces coming in with the mirror nodes, but there were also things that they could have handled better in terms of the error messaging. And mints like this aren't really what Hashpack is built optimized for, and there's a reason dedicated launch pads exist. So basically apologized and said that it should have been sold out much faster even if it didn't happen. And at least we got some sort of clarity and an apology coming in from the CTO. However, some people are still not satisfied because with a launch like that, it should have ran somewhat smoothly. But do let me know what you thought about that launch down in the comment section below. Now let's have a look at the price action of Hbar today. So we are currently trading at 0.1068. We are down by 2.17% on the 1-day chart. For the volume, we are out by 63.41%, and we're trading at $135.6 million in the volume. So bear in mind that the market cap has gone down. We are at $2.44 trillion, and we are down by 3.74%. If we have a look at the 1-day chart, so in the earlier hours of the morning for today, we were trading at 0.1081, just below 11 cents, which is kind of where we are right now in general. The lowest that we went to for the day was 10 cents. Now on the 7-day chart, we are down by 14%. So we had those massive gains that happened over a week ago. So on the 13th of March, where we went to 0.1358, and then earlier on we went to 0.1373. So we were below that 14-cent mark, and at this price point I wanted our next move up to be 15 cents. That is where I was currently looking for. Now we have actually come back down since then to 0.127 on the 15th, and then on the 16th we went to 11 cents. So we broke past and below that 12-cent mark, unfortunately. Then we did actually come back up to 0.1184. However, we did see a bit more downside. I mean, the original price target for Hbar token in general was 10 cents, but because we rallied to that 13-cent mark, I thought we could potentially push up to 15 cents. On the 1 month chart, if we have a look at how we're doing, we are up by 4.63%. So we're still doing pretty good because we were trading at that 8-cent mark before. We're still up by roughly around about 2.7 cents. So we saw that nice spike. If we do go to the downside, we could potentially see a bit more retracement to possibly the mid-range of 9 cents. And if we do go to the upside, then I'm thinking more of 11 cents, which is only a 1 cent move. But we will be monitoring the price of Hbar in the next coming of days. So as I always say, subscribe to the channel. Of course, do like the video as well if you enjoy it. And it also helps with the channel too. And I'll see you in the next video.